It started with the sound of laughter, soft, breathless, wrong. The kind that didn't belong in the building after midnight. Marcus froze in the dim hallway, flashlight trembling in his hand. The beam quivered over the framed company portraits, faces of executives staring back in glassy judgment, as the laughter came again, muffled behind the frosted glass of the CEO's office. He shouldn't have been there. His shift was supposed to end an hour ago, but the storm outside had knocked out half the cameras, and he'd stayed to finish the rounds. Now he stood in front of a door marked Elliot Carver, founder and CEO, listening to the faint thud of heels against the desk. Marcus's gut clenched. He wasn't naive. He'd seen people do worse in this building. Deals, bribes, cover-ups. But this was personal. This was betrayal dressed in perfume. He flicked off his flashlight, pressed his ear to the door. A low murmur, a man's voice, followed by a breathy whisper that froze him where he stood. Tom, he might still be here. Her voice. He'd heard it before at charity dinners, at the elevator, smiling politely as she asked him how his night was going. Lydia Carver, the boss's wife. Elegant, sharp, too kind for the man she was married to. And Tom, that name, it was one of the junior partners, young, ambitious, the kind who lived for attention. Marcus's pulse hammered. His instinct screamed to turn around, to pretend he'd heard nothing. But then the office light flickered on, an amber glow leaking through the frosted glass, and shadows moved. Lydia's silhouette, graceful and unmistakable. Another figure leaning close, too close. He shouldn't have looked, but something compelled him, the same instinct that makes a man stare at the edge of a cliff just to see how far he can fall. Marcus eased the door open an inch. Inside, the office was bathed in warm, illicit light. Lydia sat perched on the desk, blouse unbuttoned, her manicured hand gripping Tom's shoulder as he leaned over her. Her wedding ring caught the light, a cold, silver glint on her left hand, like an accusation even as she kissed him. A sharp crack of thunder rolled through the sky. She flinched, and her eyes, hazel and wide, snapped to the open door. Their gazes met. For one suspended moment, everything stopped. Then she gasped, pushing Tom away. "Marcus!" He stumbled back, heart slamming. "Mrs. Carver, I didn't mean." Close the door. Her voice was low, commanding. Not panicked, not pleading, controlled. He obeyed because that was what he did, follow orders. Tom stood frozen, shirt half undone, panic etched on his face. "We're screwed," he whispered. Lydia straightened, smoothing her hair, her expression hardening into something cold and calculating. "Leave us, Tom." "What? Now?" He hesitated, then grabbed his jacket and bolted, brushing past Marcus without meeting his eyes. Silence settled between them. The sound of rain hammered the windows. Lydia stood by the desk, the picture-perfect wife unraveling in front of him. "You didn't see anything," she said quietly. Marcus swallowed. "Mrs. Carver, please." The plea cracked through her composure. "You don't understand. It's not what it looks like." He almost laughed. "It's exactly what it looks like." Her eyes glistened, not with shame, but with desperation. "You think you know what goes on in this building? Elliot humiliated me. He parades his assistants around like trophies. You think this," she gestured vaguely at the room, the disheveled desk, her unbuttoned blouse, "is about lust? It's about not feeling invisible." Marcus said nothing. The air felt heavy with guilt that wasn't his to carry. "You'll tell him," she said after a moment. "You'll tell Elliot." He shook his head. "Not my business." But it was, and they both knew it. He was the one who saw, the one who held the secret now, the one who could ruin her or protect her. She walked closer, her perfume lingering like smoke. "You've worked here 5 years, right? Night shift. Always here when no one notices. You keep this quiet, Marcus, and I'll make it worth your while." He stiffened. "You're trying to pay me off?" She reached into her clutch, pulled out a stack of bills. "I'm asking you to forget." The money looked obscene under the fluorescent light. Too crisp, too clean. He imagined taking it, paying off his debts, fixing his truck. But something about her tone, the entitlement in it, made his skin crawl. "I don't want your money," he said. "Then what do you want?" Her words cut deeper than he expected. What did he want? To be noticed? To stop feeling like furniture in the building he guarded every night? He looked at her, really looked. Beneath the tailored beauty, she was trembling. Not from guilt, but from fear. Fear of losing the illusion. Fear of being powerless. I won't tell anyone, he said finally. But you should. She laughed softly, bitterly. You think confession fixes anything? You tell Elliot, and he'll make me disappear. You tell anyone, and you'll lose your job. You think there's justice in this place. The clock on the wall ticked, loud and merciless. I guess we're both trapped, then, Marcus murmured. She stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. No, Marcus, you're free, if you stay quiet. He left without another word. For weeks, he carried her secret like a weight in his chest. Every night, he walked the empty halls, the memory replaying, the click of her heels, the quiver in her voice, the flicker of fear in her eyes. He saw Elliot sometimes, the boss, all smiles and confidence, oblivious to the storm brewing in his own office. And Marcus started to notice things. Lydia visiting late more often, Tom getting promotions he didn't earn, Elliot's temper growing sharper in meetings. The whole company shifting under invisible pressure. He told himself he didn't care. He told himself silence was safety. Until one night, the cameras went dark again. When the feed came back, there was movement in the CEO's office. Elliot slumped over his desk, the bottle of scotch shattered beside him, and Lydia standing behind him, trembling, dialing 911. Marcus arrived minutes before the police. Heart attack, she whispered when she saw him. But her hands shook too violently. Her eyes darted too quickly. He knew. He'd seen guilt before. It never looked clean. Later, as they carried the body out, she turned to him, her voice low, almost tender. You said you'd keep my secret. He met her eyes. I did. And you'll keep this one too? He hesitated. Rain pounded the glass again, just like that first night. The storm never really ended. Then he nodded. Because sometimes silence isn't mercy, it's complicity. And as the lights of the ambulance faded into the distance, Marcus realized something colder than guilt had settled inside him. She hadn't paid him with money after all. She'd bought his soul with secrets.